Rats, welcome to my channel, or welcome back if you've been here. So, this week I'm going to cover some entities that I just randomly picked because I wanted to. So we're going to talk about Rattlers, Sliders, and Tumblers, aka Let's Dance, alright? But I haven't done an entity video in a while, so I like diving into this stuff, and I didn't really script this out because I'm lazy this week, so with that, let's get into Rattlers, shall we? So, Rattlers are Class 5, aka Super Dangerous. They are entity number 27, not that that matters anymore because it can probably actually, change within an instant. The photographs of them look pretty scary, I will show you now. And they reside in level 206 and level 119, and potentially dark areas in general. So, let's talk about their description. They are well-hidden creatures that roam the backrooms, and no one has ever seen a Rattler and lived, except for me. And, apparently the researcher that wrote this page, apparently they said they wrote it because they didn't want people to make their mistake, and it wasn't their fault. They didn't mean to send them to their death, so that sounds like a fun story. I'm gonna have to ask my Rattler friends, I mean, we're not friends. I'm gonna have to ask my Rattler acquaintances about what happened there. Anyway, if a Rattler's face is somehow observed, the observer who viewed its face will go insane and start crying 45 seconds later, so, you don't want to actually, look at it. I'm fine, but that might just be because my mind is already gone. So, they are masters from striking from the darkness, and it is unknown if they even have a physical form, so they're another breed of smilers, basically. They will just drag you into the darkness before you get a chance to turn around. And the researcher would like to say sorry to Benny. I might have to visit Benny, who's become an entity of the backrooms. He's not happy, friend. You better be careful. Anyway, for every other wanderer viewing it here, try not to sacrifice your friends, because I meet them, and if they don't like you, well, good luck. Fortunately, the Rattlers, anyway, are characterized by the rattling sound they make, so, rattlesnakes. And, this is how you tell, rather, if one is nearby. Don't mistake it for anything else, if it's a Rattler. Like me, Rattlers are predatory and enjoy messing with their prey, and they won't kill you straight away, but they will constantly make their rattling sound, and it's only to drive you mad. Yes, I've actually seen it in action. It's beautiful. I mean, not to innocent wanderers. I'd never hurt innocent wanderers, but to ones who were not, yes, it's very fun. They love the mad ones, though. That's their favorite victim. Maybe that's why they pester me so much. They can't eat me or anything like that, but they're very fast, so even with me and my zipping around, they can't catch me. They give up after a bit because I win in combat, and even if they did dispose of me, well, I'd come back. And I'm not going to explain why. So, I should probably tell you how to escape one. Beeline for that source of light, and if there isn't one, well, okay. Don't think about the don't think about the smilers and frowners that would be drawn to it, though. Think about how you'll die of torture as opposed to a quick death. So, smilers and frowners, death. Rattlers, you're gonna be alive for a while. So don't drink almond water either, by the way, because they're smart and they'll know that they can't drive you insane and will just kill you instead. So actually, no, do drink the almond water to get rid of the insanity if you want to die a faster death and not have it drawn out. Am I right? So something you should know, and I mentioned this in a previous video, smilers and rattlers actually have a rivalry, so we're finally getting to the rattler end. It started when a smiler attacked and killed the victim of a rattler, and that really pissed him off. So, somehow they managed to drive the smiler insane, and the smiler underwent drastic changes. It began frowning, and its face began glitching, and it would constantly try to get away from the rattler. Other smilers ended up actually attacking and killing the rattler. Of course, the rattlers were smart, and they became public enemy number 1 to their kind. So, rattlers are all really sadistic corvids. They will go out of their way to torment smilers instead of wanderers, so if you have a way to get a smiler in front of them, get them. Of course, Smilers can win too, and I'll help them. Like I said, Rattlers are my acquaintances. Smilers, sometimes my friends. It really depends on the Smiler. So, anyway, have an incident report, shall we?
I spent weeks with that one Rattler. I couldn't kill it, and it wouldn't kill me. If I tried to sleep, it would wake me up with a shove, and by the time I escaped, I practically had to drown myself in almond water, but it still wasn't enough. Suddenly, the creature came into the borders of my light source and scratched something on the floor, and I heard a soft thunk. I waited a day to make sure it had definitely left. Then I moved my light toward the spot. There was super almond water on the ground and a message that read,
"That was the best fun I've had in ages, and you even managed to get away. What a lively subject for me to play with. You'll need this, just in case you come across another sketch."
It's what the Rattler called him or herself.
I know the Rattler that left that message. Like I said, I have some acquaintances, but I guess there's one or two that are my friends. Careful out there, Wanderers. Anyway, let's get to sliders, shall we? Really, really good tiny burgers. No, oh sorry, we're not talking about those. We're talking about the entities. Right. So, they're class 4, so they're extremely dangerous. Kill on sight. So, sliders are bewildering creatures that sit on levels, mainly levels 1, 2, and 3. They look like circular mouths peering out of the wall. They look like normal slides from real life, and currently they are approximately 1,200 plus encounters with the entity. While they don't look intimidating, you really don't want to, get stuck. So, sliders tend to be usually very idle and wait for prey to come. And if a wanderer comes near them, they reveal a large set of hands, and they will grab you. Once they grab you, they'll reveal that set of sharp teeth, very nice, and slowly consume you. It usually takes about 15 minutes, so that's, yikes. 15 minutes of pure agony. Lovely. They're described as very neutral. Well, until they're hungry. They will try to become aggressive and consume you if you ever come near them. They could attack you by their tongue, big long floppy thing, which wanderers who survive the attack describe it as a sweet slimy saliva. Why you people actually try this stuff, I don't know. Do you really think it's gonna help you? Anyway, sliders usually take the shape of a normal slide that exists in the front rooms. They usually have teeth hidden somewhere in the mouth, and multiple arms that stretch for at least 2 meters linked from their physical body. They are pretty docile when far away, and, you wanderers don't know what happens if you get consumed, but, use your head. What do you really think happens when you get consumed? You kind of, get turned into, part of the slide. Like, you get turned into another creature if they eat you. Typically. So, it's usually a circular pipe slide, by the way. They were discovered by an unfortunate group of wanderers. One of the main habitats, level 283. And, one of the wanderers got consumed by a slider, and the other one reported the incident, so, There are sliders here, they're everywhere, and they're not the really yummy burger kind, but you can try to feed a slider to a slider and see what happens. Maybe they'll become more docile, huh? And finally, to end our little dance party here, we have Tumblers, class 4. Once again, very dangerous entities. Class 4 is bad. So, Tumblers, they appear to be like a little black virus-covered body with tentacles that look very similar to those from an octopus. They have jelly-like skin, but if you apply force by punching or smacking it, the skin will harden. Trust me, I know, it's actually really, painful. It's similar to the non-Newtonian fluid thing. So these things are quite intelligent, compared to some entities anyway. They do have the same intelligence as an average dolphin, and those are pretty smart, so. Let's talk about their behavior. They're very passive, if not obvious enough, but they are provocable. It can't be seriously hurt by any wanderers, though. During their passive state, they act lifeless and refuse to move unless one provokes it. It relies on a wind for mode of transportation, just like a tumblerweed, so, you can assume that's why they have their nickname. It should be noted, their behavior results from falling of the abyss. It happens from above, so it's assumed that they come from the void, and they are prone to complete eradication and quite possibly leaving room for other entities, such as partygoers, if the void actually decides to munch. So. Now, tumblers are seldom aggressive and don't show aggressive to one which it does not extensively provoke or harm them. But here's what happens if you do try to provoke them, and that would be very, bad. I don't know why you would do that, especially if you can't hurt it. It'd search for the nearest hiding location to avoid contact, but after an amount of time, they will manifest houses and follow the ones who had harmed them. Houses manifested by the tumblers are completely black, showing no features such as windows, and with the only similarity being the shape. The houses will only stay black for a short amount of time, so it's like a spawning piece, right? It will be spawning in that way. If the perpetrator chooses to stay in the location in that area, approximately 30 meters in size, which possesses at least one of the single houses, for an example, a Venture Park, the tumblers will disguise themselves and change their color to match the house's original color. What happens then is trails of almond water will appear and end on the front door of the house the tumbler created. It's unknown the fate of one who enters the house, at least to you, as traces of corpses, personal belongings, and others have never been found. But here's something that in your silly little wiki that I do know happens. Might not be in your canon in your universe you're researching, but it is in one of them. One that I've personally visited, so... The houses will actually turn you into a entity. That's right. No, again, not what happened to me. So, not one of the smart ones and not an enjoyable one either. The process takes several days, it's completely agonizing. It could be a tumbler, but it also could be something else, and you'll be sent to another level, so that's its revenge against you. You really do not want, to deal with that. Like many entities, the behavior toward partygoers is extremely aggressive, and they will attempt to torment them, so... They really do not want partygoers near them, but who does? They are just not really nice. Party poopers, which were the exact opposite, they aren't accepting of them either. They won't attempt to hurt them, but they will attempt to intimidate them because they don't want them in their space. Child facelings. Tumblers seem to be sympathetic toward facelings, but mainly child ones, despite their aggressive behavior toward wanderers. So, if an entity or wanderer attempts to hurt a child faceling, the tumblers will show their similar behavior on how they act toward party poopers and attempt to scare them off. So, what tumblers seem like are land urchins, right? So they've got the octopus-like things, spines, and they're like tumbleweeds. They can tumble around. So, I think it's really cool. They're immune to corrosive liquids, like liquid pain. Or almond water that do damage to other entities. However, you could do large doses of absolute pain, which could damage a tumbler's skin. But again, why would you do that? They're actually quite passive. They're prone to electricity though, so if you aggravate one, bringing and using a taser against them has proved to at least slow them down. Just leave it alone, really. So, dance party's over. We covered the 3 entities. I thought that they were pretty fun. I thought that these entities were very interesting and I liked them a lot. I would say my favorite would be the Rattlers. Just because, well, they are great. And I love every form of those very scary glowing faces in the dark, don't I? Anyway, bats, I guess I should endorse myself now, huh? So, Claws of Midgard is one of my books coming out, for adults only, by the way. It is a modern Norse mythology urban fantasy. Yes, you would guess that the urban fantasy was modern, but talking right now, not my strong point. Anyway, and that will be coming out in Halloween. So, You can get an advanced reader copy and you'd support an indie author that way, or you could pre-order the book. So the link will definitely be in the description. Please support me. But also, content like this, relevant to the Backrooms, right? Make sure you make recommendations, because I absolutely love suggestions from the community to do a little bit of research on my own and give little suggestions and tidbits that might not be in your canon, but something that I've seen in my universe travels. So have a wonderful day wherever it is for you folks, or if it's night for you, because night's the best time. Good night or day. Bye!